Have you ever been told you're strange, too different, too complicated, or just plain weird, and instead of defending yourself, you quietly smiled inside because deep down you knew that the very things people couldn't understand about you were the things that made you brilliant, rare, and undeniably one of a kind? If you're an INFJ, you know this feeling all too well, because the world often labels you as weird, not realizing that what they're calling weird is in fact evidence of a kind of genius that doesn't fit into ordinary molds, a genius that hides in subtleties, contradictions, and quiet revolutions of the mind. In this video, we're going to pull back the curtain on 7 weird things INFJs do that actually prove their genius, and as we go deeper, you'll see how the quirks, the habits, and the contradictions you've tried to suppress or hide are actually your greatest strengths, the very signs of your rare brilliance that most people overlook. Because INFJs aren't geniuses in the traditional sense of the word, not the kind of genius measured by tests, scores, or titles, but the kind of genius that rearranges lives, redefines meaning, and quietly shifts the course of the people they touch, without ever demanding credit. 1. The way INFJs disappear into observation. One of the strangest things about INFJs is the way they can step back from the noise of the world and almost melt into the background, disappearing into observation, as though they are both in the room and above it at the same time, watching, listening, decoding everything that is happening without ever needing to announce their presence. To outsiders, this looks weird. Why is this person so quiet, so reserved, so unwilling to jump in with their opinion? But this apparent withdrawal is actually proof of INFJ genius, because while most people are reacting on impulse, caught in the chaos of words and egos, the INFJ is gathering information, piecing together a puzzle of human behavior, and seeing connections others can't. Picture this. You're at a crowded event, everyone's talking over each other, laughter is echoing, and yet you notice the INFJ sitting quietly in the corner, not detached but fully alert, their eyes moving across the room like scanners, reading body language, noticing tensions, picking up on micro-expressions, and cataloging unspoken emotions. It looks passive, but it's an act of deep intelligence, because later, when they finally speak, they deliver insights so accurate it feels like they've been inside everyone's head the whole time. This disappearing act into observation is genius because it reveals foresight, empathy, and strategy all in one. It shows that INFJs don't waste energy playing games in the moment. They step back, see the whole picture, and then act with precision. 2. Their strange relationship with silence. INFJs treat silence differently than almost anyone else, and it often unnerves people, because while silence makes most people uncomfortable, INFJs carry it like an old friend, using it not only as a shield but as a tool of connection, healing, and revelation. You can tell an INFJ's genius by the way they don't rush to fill every pause in a conversation. Instead, they let the silence breathe, and in that space, something remarkable happens. The other person begins to reveal themselves more deeply. To many, this is weird. Why won't they say something? Why are they just staring with that piercing gaze? But here's the truth. INFJs know that silence speaks louder than noise, and by mastering it, they create moments of raw authenticity where real truths slip out. Their silence is genius because it's deliberate. It's a calculated opening for others to step into, a mirror reflecting back emotions that words often obscure. Where most people fear silence as a void, INFJs transform it into a stage where deeper connections and revelations can occur. 3. Their obsession with patterns no one else sees. Another behavior people call weird is the INFJ obsession with patterns. Patterns in people's words, in life events, in cultural shifts, in relationships. And while to others this looks like overthinking or paranoia, to an INFJ it's simply how their mind works, connecting dots where others see chaos. Their genius lies in this ability to detect hidden structures, to notice recurring themes, to predict outcomes not because they're psychic but because their subconscious is constantly scanning for underlying logic. An INFJ might notice that someone always changes the subject when a certain name comes up, or that certain moods fall on particular days, or that subtle choices are repeating like threads in a larger fabric. This pattern recognition looks weird to people who live only in the present moment, but for INFJs, it's their way of navigating reality, and it makes them uncannily accurate in their insights, almost prophetic at times. This genius ability is what allows INFJs to warn people before mistakes happen, to see danger before it arrives, to sense opportunity before it's visible, and while they're often dismissed in the moment, later people come back shocked, saying, "How did you know?" 4. The way they retreat into their inner world. To outsiders, INFJs can look like they're zoning out, daydreaming, or just being antisocial when they retreat into their rich inner world, but in truth, this retreat is a laboratory of genius, a place where they test ideas, simulate conversations, and build entire blueprints for future possibilities. While most people burn their energy chasing external validation, INFJs step inward, finding meaning, clarity, and answers in the depths of their mind. They can spend hours replaying a conversation, reimagining a future event, or running through what-if scenarios that prepare them for moments others could never predict. This inner retreat looks weird. Why is this person so quiet, so absent, so wrapped up in their own world? But it's actually proof of extraordinary intelligence, because INFJs are processing not only what has happened but what will happen, aligning internal vision with external reality. Their genius is in knowing that the inner world fuels the outer one, and by retreating inward, they bring back insights, ideas, and strategies that change lives. 5. Their strange duality of being warm yet distant. INFJs confuse people because they embody a paradox. They can be the warmest, kindest, most empathetic soul in the room, while simultaneously keeping a wall around their deepest self, radiating connection and distance at the same time. This looks weird. How can someone make you feel so safe yet so far away? But this paradox is another marker of genius, because it shows that INFJs have mastered emotional boundaries in ways others cannot, giving what is needed without depleting themselves entirely. Their warmth makes people trust them, confide in them, seek their presence, but their distance protects their energy, allowing them to see clearly without being consumed by others' chaos. It's a genius balance, one that allows them to help without drowning, to love without losing themselves, to be present without being enslaved. 6. The questions they ask that no one else would dare to. INFJs reveal their genius in the questions they ask, the ones that cut through surface chatter and hit the heart of the matter, the ones that make people stop, pause, and rethink their entire perspective. In a crowd, this looks weird. Why did they ask that? Why go so deep so quickly? But this questioning style is proof of their rare mind, because while others are content with small talk, INFJs want the truth, the essence, the real story beneath the mask. These questions often feel like they've pulled a thread no one else could see, unraveling something hidden inside you, and that's why INFJs often make people cry, heal, or awaken in conversations that seemed ordinary until that one question changed everything. That's not weird, it's genius. 7. Their intense relationship with paradox and contradiction. Finally, INFJs do something very strange that most people can't understand. They live in contradictions, embrace paradoxes, and hold opposing truths without collapsing under the tension. They can be both dreamers and realists, both soft and ruthless, both present and detached, both logical and emotional, and to outsiders, this inconsistency looks weird, even hypocritical. But in reality, this paradoxical nature is the mark of genius, because true intelligence isn't about choosing one extreme but about holding complexity, about balancing contradictions in a way that reflects the messy, beautiful truth of reality. INFJs are geniuses precisely because they don't reduce life to either, or, they live in both, and in a world desperate for simplicity, Their complexity is a revolutionary gift. So the next time someone calls you weird for observing too much, for staying silent, for disappearing into your thoughts, for asking uncomfortable questions, for being warm yet distant, for seeing patterns no one else sees, or for embodying contradictions they can't understand, smile, because what they're really saying is that you are different, rare, and carrying a form of genius that doesn't need to be explained to be real. INFJs, your weirdness is your brilliance, your contradictions are your genius, and your presence in this world is not a mistake, it's a revolution.